Mississippi State Baseball with head coach Ron Polk is brought to you by Bryan Foods, Mississippi Chemical Company, the Coca-Cola Bottling Company, American Cyanamid, the Mississippi State Alumni and Development Foundation, Armstrong Tires, the Starkville Chamber of Commerce, Frierson Building Supply, Watkins Oldsmobile Cadillac, Yates Construction Company, and Lufell Dairies.
Welcome to Mississippi State Baseball with Ron Polk as we talk about the Bulldogs in the weekend series with the Kentucky Wildcats. Bulldogs won 2 out of 3 from the Cats this weekend. It was a nice way to finish up the home SEC schedule, wasn't it?
Well, Jim, Kentucky is a fine ball club. 1 through 9, a very solid hitting ball club. Starting pitching was certainly outstanding, and they have 2 outstanding relievers. So we're very happy to win 2 out of 3 from this Kentucky team that will be a power to reckon with in the Southeastern Conference tournament.
Mississippi State fell behind by 5 runs early in the first ball game of the University of Kentucky. In fact, we're down 10-0 before they battled back and got 4 runs late. Coach Ron Polk, I thought maybe the way that you did battle at the end of the first game set the tone for the next 2 ball games.
We had plenty of opportunities in the first game. Late in the ball game, the first part of the game, we were just doing nothing with the Sutton boy. He was pitching an outstanding ball game, and anytime you get a 10-run lead, it's a lot easier to pitch, and he was doing a good job of throwing strikes. But we managed to put some guys on base, and the great thing is we came back and found a way to win the second ball game, and that really set the tone for Sunday. And then we got off to a good lead on Sunday. And proud of our club. It's not the first time we've lost the first game in the SEC, and they found a way to win the next 2. So that shows a lot about the character of our ball club.
Pete Young, 2 saves. He's becoming very, very important to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we didn't pitch him a heck of a lot early in the season. His arm is a lot stronger than it was at the same stage last year, where we had to throw him a heck of a lot more than we have this year. So I think now with a week off and getting ready for Alabama, it's going to give Pete more opportunities to keep his arm sound. And it's a very difficult thing we ask of that young man to do, is throw the ball across the diamond all the time and then ask him to come in the ball game. But he's certainly proved to be a very beneficial part of the program in that regard.
A month deep in the season, Burke Masters was hitting .240 and struggling at the plate. And Coach Ron Polk, you continued to say Burke Masters is going to hit well for us. He's hitting about .350 now. Well,
I've coached long enough to know what talent's all about, and you know, Burke's not the type of young man that's going to make the professional baseball scouts take notice. He doesn't do anything extremely great. He does everything very, very well. And very intelligent type of guy and a very clutch type of ball player. But as a result of our fall baseball program, we knew that he could swing the bat, and it was just a matter of time, and he's doing an outstanding job, and we're proud of him.
Let's back up just a little bit. Mississippi State, coming off 3 losses to Florida, won 4 straight big ball games before the Kentucky series. And maybe the biggest was the win over Ole Miss in the Mayor's Trophy ball game. Good midweek for you.
Well, it really was. We needed to win 4 games, and I'm not sure we were again able to do that. We played very, very well and scored some runs and got good pitching. But the game with Ole Miss is always a highlight of our year, going down to Hinds County, the Jackson area, and playing Smith Wills, and the guys responded very well and got off to a pretty good lead and held on to a victory against Ole Miss Ball Club. So anytime we play Ole Miss, we always like to win.
Bulldogs won 6 out of 7 during the week, finishing with Kentucky. We'll talk more after we take a timeout. Back with more MSU Baseball.
This Week at the Ballpark's coming up next, right after this.
When was the last time you did it? Everybody does it. They just don't want to talk about it. Yes, it's there all right. Go ahead. It's okay. You don't get this chance very often, so go for it. Now, sit back and relax. You deserve it. That look on your face says you're enjoying it. That great taste of Lufell ice cream. You can even share it with your best friend. Lufell Dairy Products, Mississippi's finest.
If you're building a new home or just remodeling, save yourself a lot of time and frustration at Frierson. Frierson has the largest selection of quality building materials in Mississippi. All of the many things that are necessary to make your house the home you want. Selection, quality, service. That's our way of doing business.
Ryerson, we're everything for your home, under one roof.
The 6,100 Bulldog fans on hand Saturday night honored SEC champion teams from 1948 and 49. Coach Polk's Diamond Dogs dropped the opener 10-4 to the Kentucky Wildcats, but under the bright sky of a glistening full moon, MSU battled back in the nightcap for a victory. Senior Terry Ellis started the second game for State, and in the top of the second, Darren Ryman drove a single to left center. Ryman wound up at second as Graham bobbled the ball in left field. Then catcher Robbie Buchanan, 2 for 3 in the game, takes one to the opposite field, driving Ryman in from second and giving the Wildcats an early 1-0 lead. Going into the bottom of the second, the Dogs' bats came alive. Tommy Raffo, 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored, pushes one through the hole on the left side for a single. Then Burke Masters, who had a great series, draws a walk, and the Bulldogs have runners at first and second. Brad Hildreth then lines one over the second baseman's head to load the bases. Brad went 2 for 2 with an RBI and 2 runs scored in the game before leaving in the third with a pulled muscle. Jimmy Gamble struck out with the bases loaded, but Barry Winford, the top of the order, drives one to left, scoring Raffo and Masters. State goes on top, 2-1. Kentucky's Tom Deller gets a word from his coach and then faces Jody Hurst. Hurst loops one into shallow center, bringing Hildreth home for the third run of the inning. At the end of 2, it's MSU 3, Kentucky 1. Terry Ellis and the Bulldog defense kept the Wildcats from scoring again until the 4th inning. In the meantime, State's offensive attack was just warming up. Leading off the bottom of the third, Richie Graham smacked his league-leading 13th home run of the season to straightaway center field. Richie went 2 for 4 in the game for Mississippi State and gave a lucky fan a nice souvenir. Tommy Raffo then draws a walk, and Burke Masters gets a single to put runners at first and second. Brad Hildreth lines a pitch to center field, scoring Raffo and giving State a 5-1 lead. After dropping the opener, Bulldog fans are glad to see their team connecting at the plate. Jimmy Gamble pushes the runners over with the successful bunt. Masters is at third while Hildreth is down at second. Then John Cohen, 1 for 4 in the game, pulls the ball down the line in right field. Masters scores, followed by Hildreth, who pulls the hamstring racing home. The Wildcats scored 2 in the top of the 4th, but in the bottom of the frame, Tommy Raffo responds with a solo home run to the outfield terrace. The crowd on hand gives UK's star center fielder Chris Estep a hearty welcome to their domain. MSU was through scoring for the night, but Kentucky battled back to come within 2 going into the last inning. Pete Young, in relief, earns his 4th save for the Bulldogs, getting Mark Blythe to ground out to 3rd, ending the game and giving State a split on a Saturday night at Dudy Noble. Let's check the scoreboard now for all of last week's scores.
Coming up, learn to play the game the right way with skills and drills.
At Mississippi State, I participated in the past, and now I'm a part of the future. Welcome to Physics Lab 1113.
Many of our faculty were at one time MSU students. They dreamed of achieving excellence and developing tremendous careers. It happened, and they're back at Mississippi State University continuing that tradition.
Here's what I have planned for the rest of the semester.
At Mississippi State, we're proud of the job W.G. Yates Construction Company did to build this baseball stadium. They came in on time, within budget, and to our satisfaction. They do not promise you unrealistic completion dates or incredibly low construction costs just to get your business. They want you to see things the way they are with no false signals or misinformation. If you want a construction firm that will have your project finished in an on-time and within budget manner, call Yates Construction Company. It's going to be to your satisfaction.
On January 12th of this year, Mr. Joseph David Kincaid of Long Beach wrote this letter to Watkins O's Cadillac in Gulfport. He writes that he purchased a car from us because of our free loan-a-car policy. Mr. Kincaid added, "You have delivered more than you promised. Thanks for a fine car and even better service." We're proud of this letter because it proves what we've always known, that a good product backed by unbeatable service is the only way to do business. Come to Watkins O's Cadillac. We don't just say we care, we really do, and we won't be undersold.
Almost every farm relies on one piece of machinery that must be durable, tough, and most of all dependable. For half a century, Armstrong Tires has been helping all types of farm tractors go the distance. Power curved lugs, tough radial belts, and a strong warranty make Armstrong one tough tire. Day after day, Armstrong pulls through. Armstrong Farm Tires. Tires built tough, like a rhino.
Today, in the last segment of Skills and Drills, Coach Pat McMahon has a special message for all you youngsters and your parents.
All right, guys, we want to spend a few minutes just talking about some things that I think are really important. And I know each and every one of you want to be the best player that you can be. But that's all you got to worry about. The guy sitting next to you might be a good friend of yours, and that's okay. And that's the neat thing about it. But the bottom line is you just work as hard as you can be to be the best player that you can be. And don't worry about the guy next to you, because that's what's really important. Just work hard, because hard work's a lot of fun. But you got to believe that. The second thing I want to tell you, two beautiful words, two of the most beautiful words in the world. One of them's please, and one of them's thank you. I want you guys to use those words. When you get home, you let your folks know, your mom or your daddy, say, "Hey, thanks for letting me go out today." You start using that more, and I think a lot of good things will happen. And that's all we want to emphasize. See, we at Mississippi State, we don't want you guys just to be good baseball players. Because once you leave the park, we want you to be the best people you can be. And be nice to people. Smile a lot. That stuff isn't hard to do, but I think it's really, really important. Because a lot of you guys aren't going to be Major League Baseball players. Percentages are going to tell you that that's not going to happen. But you can be the best lawyer you can be, the best doctor, the best daddy in the world, the best mama, when your moms see that. All those are really important things that are going to happen down for you down the line. That's what baseball is going to give to you. Nothing more than that. Do the best you can be, work as hard as you can be, and be the best player that you can be. And then you're a successful person, and successful people, and that's what we're concerned about. We've spent most of the time talking to you young guys, but we got something for moms and dads too, and that's what I'd like to share with your moms and dads too. I recently attended a T-ball game in which my nephew was playing. Before I left, I was furious with moms and dads alike. I'd never seen adults behave like such fools. I saw little boys 4 to 8 years old screamed at, booed, and in tears because they couldn't bat or they couldn't catch a ball. Don't these parents and coaches realize what they are doing to our children? There were so many little guys crying, not because of the game, but because of their parents' attitudes. Please tell these parents to let their children be children and to stop making it a win or a die situation. If just one parent reads this and after the next game hugs his child and praises him for his efforts, then at least one child will go home with happiness in his heart instead of tears in his eyes. This is a little poem we'd like to share with you moms and dads. He's just a little boy. He stands at the plate with his heart pounding fast. The bases are loaded. The die has been cast. Mom and Dad can't help him anymore. He stands all alone. A hit at this moment would send his team home. The ball nears the plate. He swings, and yes, he misses. There's a groan from the crowd with a lot of boos and a lot of hisses. A thoughtless voice cries, "Strike out the bum." Tears fill his eyes. The game's no longer fun. Remember, he's just a little boy who stands all alone. So open your heart and give him a break. For it's a moment like this a man you can make. Keep this in mind when you hear someone forget. He's just a little boy, not a man just yet. Moms and dads, hug your little boys. Tell them how much you love them before it's too late. Well, you know, as years go on and people stay with you, and college baseball is a great time when you see a young man come in as a freshman and kind of grow up and put their whole personality together and do some things. It's kind of a special moment. And the contributions that these young men have made have, boy, really touched me in my heart because some of them hadn't contributed a whole bunch, but when you talk about hard work and doing the right things and helping other people work hard, these guys have been tremendously instrumental in the success that Mississippi State baseball has had over the past couple of years.
Somewhere out there, someone saying a prayer that we'll find one another in that big somewhere out there.
Really, there's no question about it. It's the great fan support that you get here at Mississippi State. I mean, there's no place in the country that you get the fan support that you do here. You got the left field lounge, you know, and 1,000 people out there every game. And, of course, you got the 1,000 people up in stands just about every game. And during the week or during the weekend, you always had that great support, and the people just love you and show that support, whether you're doing good or whether you're doing bad, whether you're in a slump or you're pitching well or whatever. But they're always behind you and always showing you good support.
Well, I'm planning on going into coaching, so the friendships I've developed on this team and just playing with these guys as as teammates, I learn the different personalities, and it'll help me as I go into coaching just to see how the guys react when they're not playing and when they are playing, and it'll help me to just to motivate the guys that, as I was coaching, help me motivate them to, do the best they can for the team, no matter if they're playing or just helping the guys doing batting practice or other things on the team.
No doubt it'll be the guys that I played with and the friends I made here and the coaching staff that really prepared me for life more than baseball. It's the atmosphere, the big crowd you play in front of, and it just really pumps you up as opposed to playing on the roads, It's just really a good feeling to have all the fans behind you here.
Probably my most memorable moment would be the weekend series against Alabama last year, where we needed to sweep them just to get into the SEC tournament. and I pitched the second game in the doubleheader. And T-Bird won the first game 10-3, and we went out there and, like I said, we needed to sweep, and I felt really good about the fact that I contributed a big part of that weekend. We won the ball game 4-1, and I gave up a home run in the second inning, gave Alabama the lead, and then held the score right there, and our guys came back, and we ended up winning 4-1.
I've met so many friends that I'll have for life, and I've learned a lot about myself and about life through failures and success and disappointments. I haven't played as much as I'd hoped to, but that hasn't bothered me much because, everybody has a role in this team, and, you have to accept your role, and you can be a leader as much on the bench as you can on the field.
I could not imagine anywhere in the country where baseball is better supported, and the fans really take a personal interest in the members of the team. They know them by their first and last name, and they're familiar with their hometown and their families, and they really go out of their way to make each member of the ball club feel special.
In today's hectic world, people run to and fro, searching for signs of quality service, signs of courtesy and respect for the customer. Well, there's really only one sign you need to look for: Bank of Mississippi, where you'll find uncommon quality service that truly stands out from the crowd. The Bank of Mississippi, where the customer is king.
Up in New York, the #1 bologna is Oscar Mayer. But down in New Orleans, Brian makes the #1 bologna. In Chicago, Oscar Mayer's #1. But in Memphis, Brian is #1. Fact is, a lot of people up north like Oscar Mayer bologna. But down south, people prefer the flavor of Brian. Maybe that's because you can't get a down-home taste from an up-home company. Brian, the flavor of the South.
No one goes the distance like Armstrong Tire. In fact, for half a century, Armstrong's been making farm tires that take on the tough jobs out in the field. Power curved lugs for sure-footed traction, tough radial belts, and a warranty that can't be beat make Armstrong one tough tire. Ready to pull through, season after season. Armstrong Farm Tires. Tires built tough, like a rhino.
I'm just sitting here thinking, this is my farming camp. I love farming and farmers. It's tough right now. Farmers need your help. Please buy American farm products. If you're farming, it's important for you to buy American too. American companies like your friends at Mississippi Chemical need your support. So hang in there, partner. This old cap still fits.
We make things grow to feed our nation.
Mississippi State finishes up their regular season in the SEC on the road. Tuscaloosa, and Alabama's the opponent. The Crimson Tide have been playing well lately. They won 3 games from Auburn. They won 2 out of 3 from Ole Miss. And you're catching the Tide maybe playing the best they have all year long.
Well, Alabama struggled in conference play early. They didn't struggle non-conference-wise. I think they were 12-0 when they started out in SEC play. And of course, this year we got 5 road series in the SEC and 4 at home, which is a handicap to any ball club who has to do that. And so subsequently we got another road series ahead of us, and it's not going to be an easy one. Alabama's beaten Auburn 3 straight times now, and also beat Ole Miss on the road 2 out of 3. So maybe they've reached their peak, and they really have nothing to play for in regard to tournaments, so they'll be kind of loose, and I'm sure they'll be looking forward to playing us because of what we did last year when we beat them 3 straight and knocked them out of the tournament here in Starkville.
Mississippi State is in a situation they can't catch Florida for first place, but they can seed anywhere from 2nd to 5th in the Southeastern Conference tournament that they'll host. So that makes it important because I think the first round matchup is important.
Well, it really is. Everybody's going to throw their number one, and of course LSU's got Ben McDonald, and Auburn's got Stacey Jones, and everybody's got a good number one. And so it does have a bearing on how we do in the tournament. But we're shooting for the number 2 spot right now, but if we end up in the number 5 spot, so be it. We're going to hopefully be a good tournament ball club.
Let's talk about the Southeastern Conference tournament just a moment. It is a splendid event. I'm not sure any conference in the United States can put 6 teams that'll be on the field here at Dudy Noble that'll be any stronger than you'll see right here.
Well, I doubt it also. I think maybe the six-pack South and out in the West Coast can do the same thing, and maybe even the Southwest Conference. But we're really proud of our conference members, and I think the 6 schools that are represented here in the tournament in 2 weeks will be outstanding representatives of this conference. And it's going to be a fun tournament. The crowd's going to be outstanding. Ticket sales have been going just about out of sight. So I think it's going to be the type of tournament that everybody's going to be very proud of, and whoever comes out as the winner of this tournament is going to be a fine ball club.
If you wanted to look at the teams in the tournament, LSU's got the best pitching maybe. Auburn's got certainly good pitching. You look at Kentucky and Vandy, they may be the best 1 through 9 hitting if you exclude yourself. And then Florida may have the best all-around package.
There will not be a weak team in this tournament. There never is and never will be down the line. So we're going to have our hands full. But right now we're happy to be hosting it. We're happy we're in it. And we're just looking forward to that opportunity. But first we got to get by a pretty good Alabama ball club this weekend.
Mississippi State has a record of 37-15 going into the Alabama weekend. Is it good enough to get you an NCAA at-large bid if you don't make the tournament championship and get into the automatic bid that the SEC offers?
Well, I personally think so. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I think this ball club has played very well, statistically sound. Division I record's outstanding. Strength of schedule is outstanding. The fact we played more road games in the SEC than home games is a factor. Won 7 out of 8 SEC series is a factor. So I think if we ever get turned down, it'll be just because other schools in this conference do a little bit better job during the last weekend of the regular season play, and maybe do a little better job in the tournament. But we'll be disappointed if we don't get a chance to play in the NCAA tournament.
This is our last show. It's been fun this year, and I know we certainly appreciate the support that we get from the many Mississippi State fans around the state of Mississippi.
Well, I'll tell you, our staff enjoys putting this on, the clinic sessions, and also the kids who have been featured have enjoyed it, and I think it's a big part of Mississippi State baseball, and we just hope that people who watch the show have enjoyed it, and if they have any comments or criticisms or suggestions, we certainly welcome them.
We thank you this year for watching MSU Baseball with Ron Polk. We hope to be back with you next year.
Mississippi State Baseball with head coach Ron Polk has been brought to you by these fine sponsors.